everybody. Thanks again for attending the 10-second interview show. I am Michael Lieberman. That is Dr. Charles Lieberman, Chief Investment Officer, Advisors Capital Management. We work together, and yes, we are related. Nepotism at its finest. Chuck, without you, I wouldn't have a job. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Gets a laugh every time. 10 seconds to answer 5 questions. Those are the rules of our show. You have 10 seconds to answer 5 questions. There is a lot going on in the world. The Western Hemisphere changed this over the weekend, right, with the capture of Nicolás Maduro out of Venezuela. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. Again, 10 seconds. Are you ready? Nate, throw 10 seconds up on the clock if you could. Chuck, what was the single primary reason the U.S. captured Nicolás Maduro? I don't think it's drugs. I don't think it's oil. Maybe I'm wrong. 10 seconds, go.
I agree. It's neither of those. It's that Venezuela was being used as a base for operations by the Cubans to promote terrorism around Latin America and to undermine Western countries. It was being used by Iran to build drones. They have a factory there to build drones. That's in the Western Hemisphere. That's very disturbing. The Chinese are involved there. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Hamas or Hezbollah is involved in Venezuela. That's, I think, what's really driving it. We can't afford to let that sort of thing happen on our own, in our own hemisphere, and undermine potential allies in around the world.
Okay. That was like way longer than 10 seconds, but it's a serious topic, so I guess we'll let it slide. A lot of questions on a webinar we did earlier. Does this give China the ability, sort of like the green light to strike Taiwan? Are these things related? We did this, okay, then others can do it as well.
They can use it as an excuse, but that's not really what's going to determine whether or not they strike Taiwan. The only question from their standpoint, can they get away with it? Can they capture Taiwan without suffering? Suffering in a military sense, but also in an economic sense, because they would be cut off from much of the rest of the world.
It hits me as almost like an apples and oranges type thing. I don't think that these things, one sort of plays out to the other. Okay, question number 3. Oil, rare earth minerals, Russian soldiers, right? All this stuff being mined out of Venezuela, being distributed around the world back to other parts of the world. Does stopping that make the U.S. stronger, right? Or is this simply a defensive play? Is this an offensive or defensive play?
Some of both. In the case of rare earth materials, it's a long time before the U.S. becomes self-sufficient, and we have to change some of our environmental policies, so we may not do that. It really matters much more for oil, and specifically for Cuba first and foremost, for China secondarily. China is dependent on oil from Russia, Iran, and Venezuela. And so Venezuela is at risk of turning over. Iran is at risk of turning over. China does not want to be dependent only on Russia, and we could squeeze them badly if that happens.
Right, China makes another own oil. Just before we started filming this show, or just moments ago, Trump put Greenland on a 2-month time frame. He wants to have an answer there. Do we take Greenland, which is owned by Denmark, or a NATO country? Do we come to some terms for a lease like we did with Guantanamo Bay? 10 seconds or less, like I'm asking you to solve the world's problems in 10 seconds. What is an outcome there that could be acceptable to everyone? 10 seconds, go.
We can potentially sign some sort of agreement with them to have access to some of their rare earth materials. But Greenland is sparsely populated. It's going to be a while before we can get anything out of Greenland.
So is it worth doing?
Long run, sure.
Right.
Anything that helps improve our supply chains of rare earth materials or anything else that is strategic is worth doing. But it's not going to happen anytime in the near term.
By the time Trump is out of office, so say 3 years from now, do you expect Cuba, Iran, Colombia, and I'll throw Greenland in there, do you expect changes, government changes to have taken place? Those are 4 in 3 years. Which one of those do you think are the most likely to go, and or none? 10 seconds, take it home.
Venezuela is really likely because we can run a blockade of Venezuela and really squeeze them very badly. Cuba is also severely at risk because they get their energy from Venezuela at low prices. If they can't get oil from Venezuela, they have a huge problem, and they're struggling badly already. Greenland, probably not. I don't know how that one plays out. And I think it's Iran and Cuba and Venezuela that are most susceptible.
All right. So we saw it in one weekend. America went on the offense and the defense at the same time, and should lead to a safer hemisphere and then perhaps greater investment opportunities as a result of that. With that, right, you can make the argument too, just sort of going forward, that for people who think America was an empire, if these things sort of all play out in America's favor, we're still like in the republic phase. We haven't even hit empire status yet because U.S. influence would be through the roof.
Exactly right. And, the economic effects are very positive for the Western hemisphere, for Western countries. So it's a safer world with, especially if Iran and Venezuela both go down. So I think that means more investment, better living standards for people around the world, especially for people in Latin America.
USA. All right, thanks, Chuck. Appreciate it. Everyone, 10-second interview show. Like and subscribe. If you like it, please subscribe. We'll keep doing them as there are more news developments breaking. Thanks, everybody.